In an earlier video, I talked about how school leaders can balance that risk that comes from staff resistance to new initiatives and a school leader's need to consistently improve instruction for student growth and achievement. And in those videos, I talked about how we can invest or involve our teachers in decision making so that way we don't reduce the level of our expectations for student growth and achievement, but we do involve staff so they feel part of the process and they own that process. I wanted to take folks through my AI bot again and show them, particularly school leaders, how you can use an AI bot to collect instructional data that then you ask your teacher teams to grapple with and analyze. As normal, you see my AI chatbot here, and I preloaded some of my prompts, but I'll walk you through them. As when you open up my bot, I said hi. It gives me my navigation bar. And so my first prompt was, if I was a school administrator doing class walkthroughs, what should I look for related to posted and discussed learning intentions, or another way to call that is OWL objectives and student success criteria? Because this has been an area of pushback in some of the schools that I've been working at. And so it gave me some of the things that I should be looking for as an administrator when it comes to posted learning intentions and success criteria. First of all, it's really asking me to codify the evidence that I'm seeing. Is it written somewhere? Is the teacher referencing it? Because it's only as good as it could be when you just post it. You might as well not even bother posting it. You need to reference it, and then students need to be able to articulate and use that. That should be the core of what you're looking for when you do a walkthrough around learning intentions and success criteria. So then it gives you other things to look for: clarity. How's the teacher using the learning intention within the body of the lesson? How well are students understanding the learning intention? Are they being actually asked questions about the learning intention? And are they able to clearly articulate their responses? And then the bot is showing us some things to look for as administrators when it comes to student success criteria. In other words, is success criteria specific? Is it observable? Is it aligned to the skill that we're teaching? Is it measurable? How do you know when a student has mastered that content? And is it connected to quality? So it gives you some examples of what strong and weak success criteria look at. It also is asking, are the leaders looking to see if the students are using criteria to self-check? Are they referencing a rubric or a checklist? Engaging in peer feedback. So again, if administrators use this as their checklist when they go in to do walkthroughs, share this with their teacher team so the teacher team knows what's expected. Again, alignment to the task. Who's doing the cognitive lift? Who's owning that? What to look for at different levels. So in other words, almost a basic rubric for your walkthrough. Coaching questions you can use after, and then the checklist for you. So those are some ways that you could use an AI chatbot. In this case, we use my Have a Life teaching AI chatbot to do that. Okay, so now I said, or I asked, what could the Google form look like to capture the above data? Because if you create a Google form aligned to your walkthrough tool, it will collect data that then you could download and also use to analyze where your teaching is and where you might want to go. And then, like I said, I'll talk about how to involve staff. So it gave me the structure. I'm not going to go into this in depth, but you can see it gave me the structure of what my Google form should look like if I was very clear in looking at learning intentions and success criteria. And I believe it broke it up into 4 or 5 sections. I asked it to give me a set of fake or dummy CSV data, pretending that this Google form, we employed it, and this is the data that I got back. Now, I will say, having done this in the schools in which I've coached, the CSV data that you see here, although it's fake, does look like the CSV data you would get from your Google form if you download it. So there you see the CSV data tied to the walkthrough tool that we just created. Now my prompt is going to be, give me an analysis of this CSV data as it relates to learning intentions and success criteria. Let's see what it gives me. So it's giving you some indicators of just the quantitative data. So clearly visible and student friendly, 11. So 55% of the classes are posting it. 6 or 30% of the classes, it's visible, but it's not really written in a student friendly language. And then in 3 of the classes, it's not even visible. 55% are posting it in a visual way that's understandable to students, and 45% are not. So then it's giving us the type of learning intention. It's telling us the signal. Most teachers understand the shift towards skills, but 35% are still framing lessons around topics or tasks. My point in showing you this is not to go over each and every indicator and why it's important, but just to give you an example of how if you download CSV data from a walkthrough Google tool or form and upload that to AI, it will give you the analysis that you could be using as part of your administrative team meetings to deal with that student resistance where teachers often feel told rather than involved. Now you could even think about bringing this to your staff meetings or your PLC teams and asking them to go, okay, what's next? What do we do with this on a grade level? What are this would be more for your admin team, but what are the leadership implications? What are the system patterns that are being made evident in this data? So now that you have an idea of how, as an administrator, you can get data from your walkthroughs very quickly, let's look at how you can involve your staff. I already mentioned PLCs, so that's a great system that you can embed in your schools to, again, ensure that teachers have time to look at, analyze the data, and come up with next steps. But let's just ask it here. So if I wanted to involve my teachers in deciding what to focus on next, give me some strategies or processes for doing this. I already, like I said, gave you one, PLCs. You could also do it, like I said, at staff meetings, if you have a weekly staff meeting after school. But let's see what the AI gives us. So you're going to frame the data neutrally. Again, you're not going to blame any one individual, but you're going to say this is something we're working on as a school. You could do a data gallery walk. You could do structured voting. If we were to focus on one improvement lever next quarter, which would be most impactful for student learning? So then they could vote. You could do an impact versus effort matrix. So what is high impact, low effort would be where I would go first, and then high impact, high effort. So what would be some of the ways that we could deal with this data or use this data in a high impact fashion? You could do small group design sprint. If we improve this by 20%, what would classrooms look like? What teacher moves shift? What student behavior changes? And you could break this into cross-grade groups. You could do a teacher-led root cause analysis. We talk about PLCs, not necessarily PLC-based micro testing. And then, so again, you have some great ideas as an administrator, how you can bring this data back to your school and hopefully involve them in the process of instructional improvement. Again, you don't want to reduce your expectations because we have a very short time with our students, and our mandate is that students grow and achieve. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be involving your staff in decisions affecting what they're going to be teaching and how they're going to be teaching. It's not going to reduce all resistance, but it's definitely going to help people to feel vested in your school community as educators. My name is John Shabari from Have a Life Teaching. I help school leaders reduce their leadership risk. So if this is something you're interested in, either my AI bot or what I'm doing in general in terms of coaching schools and school leaders, I do hope you reach out. In the comments to this video, you could write exposure and I'll reach back out to you, or you could just DM me privately.